Hey guys, this is Chris from Wreck-It Talk, and so this is going to be a contest entry. Entering a contest for Tom at Cine Arcadia. So his contest is around the genre of doom metal, which is a genre that is very poorly represented in my collection. And so I'm calling this entry Doomicus, Sludgicus, Bogus, a possibly illegitimate entry to his contest. Doomicus, Sludgicus, Bogus. Calling it that because I'm going to not be very precise with what's doom metal versus sludge metal or stoner rock. And again, this is largely based on very limited holdings I have in my collection. So, of course, the super obvious thing to show when somebody asks you to show doom metal is to show an early Black Sabbath record. So I have Paranoid. This is the earliest by Black Sabbath in my collection. You know what Tony and Ozzy and Geezer and Bill looked like back in the early 70s in the Wild Blurry Picture. And of course, everyone knows like War Pigs and Paranoid and Iron Man and Fairies Wear Boots. You do have a song on here called Hand of Doom. Another group that I have that people certainly are going to accept as being doom metal is going to be 1980s SST band Program Annihilator. So you can see one of the bands on this compilation, 80 Minutes of Psychic Fuel, is Saint Vitus. And pretty much what you have here is that, so they're in the inlay. We'll get the focus. So you've got St. Vitus, Wars or Destiny, and White Stallions from Hallow's Victim, Darkness from The Walking Dead, White Magic, Black Magic from St. Vitus. So this was early in their career. They're kind of considered to be one of the very early doom metal bands. Of course, being on SST Records, they were in there with punkers, so they would do things like open for Black Flag, and the punk crowd would hate them because they were too metal. Of course, metal would hate them because they were too punk, so they had to be pretty tough. Now I'm going to do some more obscure and possibly questionable picks here. So this is a CD I show every once in a while. It's something I got off of Bandcamp a couple of years ago. So it's basically a project by a Brazilian guitarist named Matheus Novaes. And so he put out a couple albums under the Erudite Stoner label. This is the only one that came out on a physical format on this CD. And so if you go by Discogs calls it doom metal, post-rock, progressive metal, shoegaze. It probably leans heavily towards the progressive metal part, but it is a little bit slower than that genre usually is, kind of pushing it at least a bit towards the doom metal. It's pretty cool stuff. Something that I think is definitely more considered to be Sludgicus than Doomicus is I Hate God. This was their most recent album, A History of Nomadic Behavior, which came out in 2021. I got turned on to this by Zach Blabeth. And so I think they're usually considered to be sludge, but hey, I'm getting as close as I can get within my record collection. And then the final pushing of it is going to be Doom Dub by Thor Harris from his Joyful Noise Artist in Residency box sets. And so he's more thought of as sort of being avant-garde, experimental, ambient music. This particular album was kind of taking elements of dub reggae, but really slowing it down. So that's the doom along with the dub. You don't really get the metal part of doom with this particular album, but Thor Harris is cool. He punches Nazis, so I'm going to include it. Obviously, if Tom thinks my Doomicus, Sludgicus, Bogus entry is too bogus and chooses to qualify me, that's okay. I would understand. But I did have fun trying to do this. Thanks for entering my contest, Tom. and I'm sure the other entries will be much better for educating you in Doomicus.